after 3 weeks of being off. Wow. that's all I got. I'm terrible at these intro things, so fuck everybody. But anyways, tonight we're gonna start off by watching this leaked Google leadership video where they're all freaking out about Trump and thinking of, brainstorming ways they can take him down. Is the conspiracy theory real? Is Google keeping people from being able to search up good things about Trump? Or is it all just a bitch whiny fest of liberals? You decide. Dun dun dun. There we go. See, that was a good intro.
If you say so.
Yeah, fuck off. It was a good intro, man. I don't even know. So we're going to watch this video. I'm not going to say we're going to watch it in its entirety, but we're going to play and we're going to have some fun and laugh and cry and blah, 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 blah.
At least until we get bored anyways.
I know this is probably
what did you say?
Not the most
At least until we get bored anyways.
TGIF we have had. And
they call their meetings TGIF meetings.
People here are
that's
pretty upset,
bad enough.
pretty sad,
pretty gay.
It is kind of
because of the election.
I'm not gonna lie.
But there's another group.
Even me and my liberal self can admit that this is kind of gay.
Think about who are very excited about the legalization of pot.
So is this Bob Ross's anemic brother or something?
I don't even ask me to pronounce his name. It's like Kavan or something, or Taunt. I don't know. Some kind of fucking terrible name.
Let me see. Joints outside on the patio.
Let's see. Sergey Brin. Sergey Brin is his name, guys.
Take a little while to take effect. As a huge.
I don't know where that's from. Kind of got that Middle Eastern look to him.
All week, I'll be honest with you.
I'm not surprised.
But anyway, on a more serious note, myself as an immigrant and a refugee, I certainly find this election deeply offensive. I know many of you do too.
Now, will you agree that liberals really whined like this that day, or a lot of them just went on about their lives? I mean, what do you think was the general sentiment of liberals on 2016 in the election?
It's a good time to reflect on
you can find meltdown videos online.
It's still the greatest thing ever.
Oh yeah, my favorite is the one where she's like, "I can't breathe. You better fix this."
We gotta get him out, man. We can't do this, man. We can't do this.
So many people apparently don't share many of the values that we have. I mean, I guess we've known that for many months now. It's not like election terms.
It's the general idea here to convince other people to have the same values you have. Is that American or un-American?
I think the really horrifying part is he just said we've known that for many months now.
What do you mean? Elaborate on that a little bit.
He just said that that many people don't have our values, and we have known that for many months now.
Look, we have no idea what it's going to do. This is the honest truth.
Yeah.
We have no idea what
it's kind of messed up.
Whatever the past policy.
See, it's hard to defend something like this as a liberal. Because we're talking about one of the biggest corporations in the world, sitting here talking to thousands of people, most of which have a different ideology than what he himself does. No matter how you look at it, there's always going to be differences. So think of all the conservatives sitting here in the audience and going, "Oh my God, this guy won't shut the fuck up right now." Like, he's not speaking to his employees; he's speaking to like-minded individuals, and the rest of his employees can go fuck themselves. You know what I mean?
You just suggested that conservatives would be able to be hired there.
You don't think conservatives work at Google?
Well, how long did it take for this to be revealed?
Well, fuck. 2 years.
So I'm going to go with probably not.
Thanks again.
That's one of their applicant questions.
Getting together at a moment like this.
They can tell by your history.
Extraordinarily stressful time, I'm sure, for many of you.
Look at this. They're having a damage control thing for the presidency. You don't think they would not hire somebody who posted MAGA or something?
Okay, hold on. So would you call this damage control? Or is it fucking just like a serious meeting where we're going to discuss this to make our immigrant employees feel a little bit better about themselves?
Okay, pause it for a second.
You got to ask the hard stuff. You go ahead and pause it. I'm not on the right screen.
There were a lot of groups
okay.
targeted, and so I think all of that makes it.
All right.
Okay, so your question was, do you think this is damage control?
Like, is it like a plan? Like, is this going to be our plan to end the Trump presidency, or to at least try to contain it as much as possible? Or is this sitting down there and letting them know, hey, you may be sad today, employees, but we're letting you know that no matter what, life goes on?
Life goes on. Okay, so we already know that they, at least one member of the Google staff, the diversity specialist or something like that,
Yeah,
a Latino lady, used her power to try to bolster the Latino vote. So used her power with Google to try to bolster the Latino
and
vote.
how exactly did she do that? I don't know much on this story, so bear with me on that one. I've only seen the headlines on that one.
She influenced something called Voto Latino, and then made sure that the what do you call that? Some sort of manipulation of the search results when corresponding to Latino stuff. I'm not really sure. I mean, Google's kind of a shady organization to begin with, but regardless,
what would you say is so shady about Google?
That they're all powerful and they think they're good.
All right. How powerful is a search engine company in reality? I mean, there's 20 other search engines that you can. No, I mean, there's 20 different search engines you can use. If you don't like Google's policies, go use someone else. Go use Yahoo. Go use fucking, I don't know, 37.com. Bing. People love Bing.
So the problem wouldn't be whether or not I'm using it. The problem would be whether or not the person who's about to beat me to death while they're wearing all black and carrying an anti-establishment flag has used Google extensively to try to find any sort of truth and has been denied that. So the problem is going to be the people who use Google and become agitated by its algorithms essentially manipulating them. If you don't have the sort of discerning eye, then why would you ever question the first 2 pages of results that you receive?
Why would you question watching news on Fox? Why would you question reading news on Breitbart? I mean, at some point, you got to accept personal responsibility for failure for people to look up biases and understand them before they use a service.
Who's the person accepting responsibility?
The consumer.
Absolutely. The problem is that if the consumer doesn't really care.
Again, most people believe everything Fox says, and they've been proven multiple times to be in lies.
And let's go ahead and just say that every news organization has been proven multiple times to be
they have.
deceitful.
I will agree with that. Yes.
The question is, what do they do when they are deceitful?
They usually post a retraction or something.
You know who doesn't?
Google. CNN's posted retractions. What are you talking about?
Okay. What about the story where they got the information that Trump knew about the Trump Tower meetings from, what's his name? The lawyer of...
They straight up said that the lawyer has taken back his claims.
No, actually, the lawyer... Yeah, no. They straight up said that, but they never took down the story. Yeah. Do you know why?
But are they required to take down the story?
No, it's just integrity. So I guess not. But it's just integrity. They don't need that. But the person who is a name on the story is a person who worked on the what was it, Nixon thing. So they tried to lend greater authority to it by involving somebody who just signed his name to it.
Yeah, someone who has credibility in this situation. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it turns out he signed his name to something that has no credibility. And so they don't take it down. What was his name? Don Lemon has called the president racist multiple times without any evidence.
A lot of people do believe he's racist right now. I mean,
whether you believe it or not, you're a news organization. Prove it.
First off, they're an opinion organization, especially in shows like Don Lemon.
CNN, what does it stand for?
Something News Network.
Right. So does it say Opinion News Network?
Does Fox say Opinion News Network?
No, but
does MSNBC?
What's his name? Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson is full opinion.
Yeah, and he says it.
Yeah.
He says that this is my opinion. He says that.
So does, well, I guess Rachel Maddow is not on there.
Not.
Anderson Cooper does.
Anderson Cooper says when it's his opinion and when it's not.
Okay, so every time some news commentator has to give their opinion. I mean, shit, Sean Hannity starts off with a fucking list of people that need to be arrested for no fucking crime whatsoever.
If you watch Sean Hannity and don't know that it's Sean Hannity's opinion because it's not called news, it's called Sean Hannity, then I would be surprised. Because, again, whenever the title of the show is that thing, like the guy's name, and they have said this is my opinion multiple times.
What about Fox and Friends?
People sitting around a table talking off the cuff. They print retractions like at the end of the show.
What I'm saying is, no matter what, you know that CNN's Democrat. You know that, well, CNN's more centrist.
No,
you know that CNN is centrist.
That they are not Democratic.
CNN is very much centrist, no matter how you look at it. They really are. So I wouldn't call them Democratic. They may lean a little bit more liberal, but they are definitely centrist. They're John McCain lovers.
Lean a little.
A little.
They called the president racist.
Again, this is a common opinion held by many American citizens.
Reporters have called the president racist.
All right. Let's get back on topic here. Start back up the video.
My point of the matter is that this is damage control. This is, don't worry, your generals have a plan.
Okay, and what's the plan? Hurt themselves? I mean, they are still a business. They still have to make money. They're still going to do search engines the right way. If they do them the wrong way, eventually they will not get the customer support.
Model was?
What? I'm sorry, can you say that again? Hello? Everything's went quiet. Can you hear me? Oh, there you go. I can kind of hear you. I'm hearing 1 second. He stopped. It's dead air.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hey, are you back?
I'm back.
All right.
Do you remember what Google's motto was?
What's Google's motto?
It was, don't be evil.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. That is what it is. Yeah. Don't be evil.
Now, why would a company that's only interested in making money need to have a motto that says, don't be evil?
Well, I'm not going to lie. There's probably a bit more to it than just making money. They do want to make social change.
Hold on a second. Oh, so now I thought you were saying that they just
look, they're not going to do anything that hurts their funds. They may not actively try to do something bad. And I'm not saying Google's perfect. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at YouTube. It's fucking terrible right now, the way that they treat channels. But what I'm saying is that no matter what, they're going to try to make money before they try to do anything else. And they need to keep most of Americans on their service to make that money. They're not going to alienate a large subset of the population. I mean, whether you like Trump or not, you got to admit at least 45% of people think he's the second coming. That's a big customer base.
So you think they're trying to serve those customers or educate them?
I'm thinking that they are going to try to do a little bit of both. But they're not going to try to educate them to the point where they're like, hey, you're wrong. You're wrong. Everything you know is wrong. No. They're going to they might put in an article here and there, but there's no one sitting there like literally going through, okay, today's Donald Trump news. Let's only post in bad articles about Donald Trump. You get what I'm saying? I mean, who the fuck's job is that? If you can point to me a person's position that it is, to sit there and be like, oh, the story about Trump being a good guy, it's got to go. We got to put in the story about how Trump did something bad today.
It doesn't work like that. In the mind of the people who are creating this, it's not a matter of choosing the stories that make Trump look bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's, can you believe a story where Trump is not a racist?
So what you're saying is that they are taking away stories that make Trump sound good.
No. If you are confirming, like we're listening to, that the president of the United States, as they mentioned, is not what they is not their people.
Mm-hmm.
The other dude with the emaciated Bob Ross mentioned that we were surprised that we figured that there were this many people. We did not figure that there were this many people that were going to vote against us, right?
Yeah.
Us, not us as a nation, but us in this room, these people with us. So there are people with them and against them, and the people who are against them got Trump in office. Trump is not one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking to yourself, Trump is a misogynist, Trump is a racist, Trump is a homophobe, right?
Right.
If there's a story where Trump saves a kitten and it's coming from a right-wing news source, because CNN won't pick it up, and NBC won't pick it up.
Yeah.
Thank you. None of the mainstream dudes will pick it up because
but they're all picking up these stories. You got to realize part of the narrative that conservative media is putting out is that these stories aren't appearing on CNN or MSNBC. MSNBC and CNN both have been reporting the job numbers. Both have been reporting the boom in the economy. Both have been reporting on North Korea peace. And
who have they been attributing?
They've been attributing it to different things. But yes, a lot of them have said
what
this is Trump's economy. Or a lot of these stories, as I've noticed, have been followed with the possible fail.
They say some people have attributed the economic boon to Trump. I watched it this morning. That's what they said.
Okay.
Some people have attributed the economic boon to Trump. And then Barack Obama comes out just a couple of days ago, and now they're changing their story. They're saying, obviously, it was the uptick of the recession. Think about it.
Well, the timing does work out, I might add.
Oh, yeah. Do you know how many industry restrictions Trump has taken back?
Yeah, I have no idea. I assume quite a few, though, at this point.
Quite a few. And so if you're suggesting that these industries have, okay, so for example, last month, guess who produced more oil? One of the leading countries in exporting of oil. Guess who is one of them now? One of the top three.
We've been in the top three for 10 years.
Incorrect.
Bull.
Look it up.
You make me screw up this perfect symbiosis I have going on here. All right. So,
look up the 2017 numbers. Oil exporters. OPEC.
Exporters. All right. So 2017. Saudi Arabia. Whoa. I don't even think we're on the top 10 in 2017.
That's correct. I think we're 13th.
Yeah, well, this is just the top 10 I found here, 13th. Okay, so what am I looking at now? 2018?
Yeah, well, just this last month, essentially. Or was it July, I think, maybe. But anyways, we started producing as much oil,
Well, apparently we're number one now.
Yeah, well, it's changed since July. But yeah, so do you think that has happened out of the blue, or do you think that was Obama? Because Obama put the restrictions on the oil companies to begin with. So what are you talking about?
True, but oil prices have also raised here in America.
That's correct.
And basically the only people who are profiting from it are exporters and drill workers, and that's about it.
I would have to go out and say the government is also profiting with,
You're right. Although there's a lot of subsidies put on oil companies here in America. So they're not profiting as much as they would if a similar boom happened in the steel industry, for example. So, hey, you're going quiet again. Hello. Can you hear me? He's completely frozen up, guys. Look at that dumbfounded look, just staring at the screen. Can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me, Uncle Tom? I'm calling for
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Uncle Tom, I've got a beret.
What the hell are you doing, man? So weird.
I just waved a pink, head thingy in front of it with a bow on it because it's sitting here on my desk and it's all shiny and sparkly. Anyways, but where were we there?
Basically, I'm suggesting that Barack Obama isn't responsible for the economic boom, or the increase in jobs, or any of that.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, the economy boosted about the second that Trump got into office. And most of the reason for that was because people wanted a Republican in office. Businesses wanted a Republican in office because they knew that he was going to be working for them. So most of the reason for the holdback on the recession was literally designed by conservatives waiting for a conservative president to jump in.
No.
Yes.
Because
there was nothing. There's no reason why those oil companies couldn't have been booming under Obama. None.
Yes, he passed restrictions.
Such as?
Limitations on how much they can frack, or limitations on how much they can export, how much they can produce, how much they can burn. All of it was green, or was
Show
it
me
clean
numbers.
air?
Show me numbers, man. Show me actual regulations that were dropped.
Okay, well, all you have to do is look up Obama era regulation business.
I'll check that out real quick. Screw it. Let's see. Obama era regulations on oil.
I think it's called Clean Air or Clean Water or something like that. It was one of those really dumb names where people are like, hey, that sounds good.
Oh, I gotta subscribe to read this story. Fuck you. Axios, I don't even know this coming. Trump's administration is preparing to take a two-pronged approach to rolling back regulation cutting methane emissions from oil and gas wells. Axios has learned why it matters. Methane is a potent greenhouse gas that is also probably the blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to look for actual regulations. I'm not finding shit. EPA rollbacks Obama-era methane rules to help out drillers. This was, this story here was posted 2 days ago. Yep. So, I mean.
So part of the government's, is enforcement, right? So if you don't enforce it, then it's kind of not there. And then, so basically there are other ways around it besides totally rolling it back.
All right.
It's just
I get you. Okay. But this isn't lining the pockets of regular workers. This is lining the pockets of a lot of investors, a lot of businessmen, and a few oil workers. And that's it.
A few oil workers.
How many people do you think work on oil rigs? How many people do you think work in the oil industry?
Why don't you look that up real quick?
Oh, God, stop having me look up shit.
You're the one who asked me the question.
I know, but damn.
The people can't see my screen.
I know. Okay, oil. Oh, God. Oil drill workers 2018. Right here. Maybe number of it looks like somewhere around, I don't know, I'm kind of ballparking this here because it's just giving me people that are coming back, but it looks like around 300, 500,000, somewhere around there. Not exactly in the millions here. You know what I mean? Did I lose you again? I think I lost him again, guys. I don't think you can hear me again. The show's going so well. We're getting so off topic, too. He needs to come back, and yet he won't. He's always going to stay gone for the show. Well, you know what? We'll take a quick break and be right back. Welcome back. Sorry about those technical difficulties. Maybe 1 or 2 people watching. Let's take a look here. We have 1 person watching. Woo!
I'm sure there was like 32, but then they
Yeah,
left once.
Yeah. No. There's like 3,200, man. I swear.
Yeah. This is for my ego, so I'll believe that.
Yeah, no. All right, get that video back up and going. Let's get this shit back on track before we start talking about oil drill numbers again.
Yeah, or socialism.
Or socialism. You want to press play on that?
Yep. Oh, do you want to go to the one of the controversial time periods?
Yeah, go ahead. Bring me to one. Which one?
Okay, let's see here. Walker goes and describes the Trump phenomenon as a sign of tribalism.
I like that.
So that's
9:35.
Yep, 9:35.
Sorry to be having you doing some of the production work here, but
no, it's
I
fine.
have a good setup going here now, and I don't like ruining it.
There we go. Boom. It'll happen.
And a desire
Beautiful.
for answers that may or may not be feeling a distrust of experts and disregard of traditional institutions. And we're trying to figure out how do we respond to that? What are the next steps for us?
What point is it going to be that Trump is like going to say, hey, wait a minute, CNN's kind of right about this? I mean, what institutions should we trust and what institutions should we not trust? Are the only trusted institutions for the Trump White House or whatever going to be, conservative institutions? Are those the only trustworthy ones out there right now? Name one liberal organization that you would trust for news.
I don't trust any organization for news alone.
That is true. That's a good thing to go by. You're right. But we need a little bit of this on both sides,
I already do that. I already expect to be lied to in some capacity by both Breitbart, Fox News, CNN, all the major news organizations. They're going to spin the story, and I can see where the lines are. Usually, if they won't mention any sort of specifics as to a victim, like there was a Mexican individual who was stabbed in, I think, California, and people were saying, and the person who stabbed him was yelling, "Go back to your country."
Yeah.
They didn't mention the race of the person, and they always mention race. So I looked it up. He was black. The people who stabbed him. So, you could tell little things about that. And Fox will basically go on the high horse, essentially. Like, they'll talk about immorality and like justice and all this other stuff. And you look into it and it's like a little bit more complex than that. So I don't trust any of them.
No, and that's probably a good thing to live by, because for, the last 50 years or so, people believed their local news organization. And then,
well, no, I don't think the last 50 years. I think the last presidency, people believed Barack Obama was not doing anything nefarious, when in fact he was. He was doing many things nefarious, and he was lying about it.
A lot of people believe that, though. It's half the reason why Trump won the presidency was because of the misinformation campaign brought on by conservative media.
By conservative media.
Yes.
Misinformation campaign brought on by conservative media.
Yeah, pretty much the exact same thing that the liberal media is doing nowadays.
No.
I mean, liberals literally pulled this right out of their playbook.
Well, that would be true if the things that they were reporting on weren't true.
Remember the fucking, the Bundy Ranch or whatever the fuck it was?
Bundy Ranch.
I don't know if it was Bundy. It was like Carter Bundy or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it was this old white dude or whatever was pissed because the government was taking his land. And held up the whole thing and blamed Obama for it. And Fox News got all behind them and shit. And then until the day that he said, like, black people were better off as slaves. And then Fox News was like, well, that might have been too much. And then they just slowly forgot about it.
Oh, well, I mean, to some degree, the mainstream support that he had disappeared. But the dude's point was that the history depicts slavery as sort of like this brutality, but in reality it was more of a business thing. Like, you didn't want
Okay.
working slaves to be treated poorly.
Either way, I get what you're saying there, but point I'm trying to get at though is that again, this disinformation campaign, that whole ranch deal, okay? They were making it sound like it was some new Obama regulations or whatever put into place why you couldn't own that land. And
hold on a second. Here we go. In 2014, the Bundy standoff was an armed confrontation between supporters of cattle ranchers in
hey, what's your
Chevelle.
source, real quick?
Wikipedia, of course.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's see. So, yeah, Chevelle Bundy, American cattle rancher from Nevada, and law enforcement following a 21-year legal dispute in which the United States Bureau of Land Management obtained court order obtained court orders directing Bundy to pay over $1 million in withheld grazing fees for Bundy's use of federally owned land adjacent to Bundy's ranch in northeastern Nevada. The ongoing dispute started in 1993, and in protest against the changes in grazing rules, Bundy declined to renew his permit for the cattle grazing on BLM, so the Bureau of Land Management administered public lands near Nevada. According to Bundy, the federal government lacks the constitutional authority to own vast tracts of land, an argument repeatedly rejected by federal courts. According to the Bureau of Land Management, Bundy continued to graze his cattle on public land without a permit. In 1998, Bundy was prohibited by the U.S. District Court from grazing his cattle area of land, later called Belk allotment. In 2013, the federal judge ordered Bundy to refrain from trespassing on federal administered land.
What I'm getting at here is that the Fox News during this time period and Breitbart and all these sources during the 2013-2014 deal or whatever were basically blaming the Obama administration for keeping him down. Like this was all made up by the Obama administration. That year when Obama was in office, he specifically made these grazing rules, and that's just not true. I mean, as you read there yourself, this is something that had been 20 years in the making, but Fox News withheld that information. Breitbart withheld that information and made it all sound like it was Obama that was doing this.
Oh, here we go. The federal land was and his cattle were temporarily taken from him.
Yes.
And he was arrested.
Yes.
So apparently, before 1993, there were no grazing fees.
Correct. But the government still owned the land. They owned the land for like 80 years before that, or 60 years before that, or whatnot. I think it was 60. Am I right on that? This wasn't his land, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you have a goat and you take him to a park, do you pay a grazing fee?
No, but again,
the grass is just growing.
Right, but what I'm trying to get at is that these rules were put into place well before Obama was there, was involved. Yet Fox News,
I see what you're saying.
But Fox News was like, "Oh, Obama's the one keeping him down." In fact, there's interviews where the dude is straight up blaming Obama for this when Obama had nothing to do with it.
Well, the tax hikes on the grazing land probably would be the purview of Obama. So the increases in the cost of grazing were probably reasonably.
Yeah, but he wasn't paying them before that. He hadn't been paying them since 898.
No, he wasn't paying the increases. He refused to pay the increases.
So from 98 on, he refused to pay the increases.
From what I understand, again, I don't know, I'm not very familiar with his case, but it does appear that the sentence is structured, it started in protest against the changes in grazing rules.
All right.
So in protest, due to some
changes
in grazing rules.
What I'm hearing here is you're working really hard to figure out how this is Obama's fault right now.
I don't
Just
care.
like CNN works really hard to blame, some racist incident on Trump.
No, it's not hard for me to figure out how it's Obama's fault. He represents the government.
You're really pulling at straws there, man.
What are you talking about? He represented the government during the time that his cattle was taken.
So it's all Obama's fault, then. First
Okay.
off, he's the one who didn't pay the fines, and the grazing.
If ICE separates a child from his mother at the border, whose fault is it?
Whatever our laws. Sorry, whatever our laws are. Have a hiccup / burp thing there.
So whose fault is it?
It would be the government's fault.
Who's running the government?
Well, Trump's running the government right now.
Right. In reality, it would be Barack Obama's fault because he's the one who started the law that separates the families. But no one cares about that. They just care about Trump. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So nobody cares about when this stuff goes
we
down.
more care about the enforcement of it at this point. And I get how you're going to bring that back over to the Cliven Bundy thing. Just remember his name, Cliven Bundy.
Yeah, that's my point. The enforcement to take all this stuff.
Okay, so what you're saying is that what CNN's doing to Trump is no different than what Fox News did to Obama.
No, it is different.
How?
Okay, so some dude's land was taken, right? Barack Obama was president. He could have done something about it.
No. The land was taken well before Barack Obama was president.
No. Okay.
60 years before. His. Yeah, it was never his.
Never his. Right. Yeah. So.
Well, it might have been his, 200 years ago or whatever, 100 and some odd years ago, whatever it was.
Right.
It was his family's land.
As far as we can tell, he was in good relation with whatever laws or whatever things are going on before 1993, and then afterwards in protest due to changing the rules, he declined to renew his permit to graze on the land.
Correct.
So he repeatedly rejected the government's changes or whatever, and then it eventually escalated because they claimed that he was still using the land. I don't know whether he was or was not, but that was their claim. And they continued to demand that he not trespass on federal land.
Which he did. He admitted that. So. Which
apparently he did. I'm not saying he didn't. But the point of the matter is when all the acres, let's see, 145,000 acres of federal land in Clark County were temporarily closed. Wait. For capturing and pounding trespassing cattle.
Yes.
So the question is, why did he think that he could stay there?
Because I think he thought it was like his family's land or something like that.
He thought it, or it was?
It was, I think. Like it was his family land like 60 years ago, 80 years ago, or whatever. And then the government basically took it. In like the 1940s, 50s, something like that. I don't know. I don't remember all the specifics. See, what?
The charges have been dismissed?
I don't think all of them were. I think one guy served some serious time for it.
Members of the Bundy family and their supporters. Federal judge in Las Vegas dismissed charges against Bundy and his sons, Amon and Ryan, on Monday. And this would be New York Times, January 8, 2018.
Wow. I didn't know that. Because, one of his sons, I think, was facing like 10 years.
Oh, hold on. The government misstepped in withholding evidence against the 3 Bundy family members and supporters. Were also grave with their indication against them was dismissed. So apparently the evidence that the government withheld was so serious that they just dismissed the charges.
Okay, so you're really not following the actual point of this, though. You're really going off on this. What I'm saying...
No, hold on. Your premise is that that there was no truth. There was no... that they were doing something unjust, right?
No,
So
my premise is that my premise is that if you consider this something that Obama did that was unjust, how is that different than us considering Trump keeping illegal aliens unjust?
because if it's objectively unjust, then it's verifiable and you can prove it.
Okay,
Make sense?
so what was the unjust thing here? Or do we not know that?
Judge Navarro declared a mistrial last month stemming from an armed standoff at the Bundy Ranch in 2014 had arisen over land grazing fees. She said that the prosecutors had erred in failing to turn over important evidence to the defense, including a video taken surreptitiously within the ranch during the standoff, evidence that the FBI was involved in the incident. So the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, should not have been out there.
So
apparently.
they got released on a technicality, is what you're telling me.
No. Why would the Federal Bureau of Investigation be involved in this?
Probably because it started making national media and all that stuff.
Yeah, but why would the government hide the fact that their Federal Bureau of Investigation was
I have
involved
no
in
idea,
it?
man. We're jumping into deep conspiracy theories there, man.
Long-lasting portrayed the Bundy family as members as violent extremists, but let's see.
So, okay, are you going to tell me that Fox News was completely objective to Obama? That they gave him a chance? Even during the regular news runs?
Yeah, I would have to say that it gave him a. If you look at the statistics on the current coverage of Trump, it's like 92% negative on the main sort of the CNN and MSNBC. It's 90 something percent negative. This is from a Harvard study. So, and they also spend like 90% of their time talking about Trump, specifically bad mouthing him.
Got it worse from the media. Trump or
But you just
Obama?
go CNN Trump coverage percentage. That'd be another one. Focused on, let's see, become.
There's a Fox article.
The opponents of the film.
Trump's media treatment may not be worse than what Obama has done. Oh, this is how Obama treated the media. Yeah, Obama was pretty rough on the media, too.
No, he wasn't.
Bull. There's times he even refused to do interviews with Fox News.
Yeah, that's the only publication that he regularly refused. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't see Trump refusing CNN.
Yeah, because they say things about him that aren't true. Like he's a racist.
Well, as I said, Trump does go on to CNN quite often, actually. It's not like he completely ignores them.
No, but I'm saying he bans them too.
Yeah. No, Trump's definitely... Like, Trump does more rhetoric against the media, but he has...
Oh, here he goes. So Mr. Bundy said that he insisted he did not have to pay charges because he said that he had inherited water rights on the land. At the height of the standoff. So it says here that in 2014, the standoff focused on Bundy's hearing. Let's see, set off when the BLM, so Bureau of Land Management, seized the cattle from Bundy's ranch in an attempt to force him to pay decades of back fees for grazing his cattle on federal land. Mr. Bundy insisted that he did not have to pay the charges because he said that he inherited water rights on the land. The height of the standoff. So this is just a dispute between a dude who says he owns water rights, whatever that means, and the government who says he doesn't.
Yeah. And again, you gotta realize this was like the big story on Fox News for like, a month almost. How Obama was pushing down the old rancher and all this stuff.
Yeah, because in 2014 his land was seized. Before that, nothing, and then finally stuff was taken, right?
Yes.
Who was president?
Obama.
Right. So who are you going to yell at?
Obama.
I don't understand
why. So who am I going to yell at when the fuck I disagree with families being taken?
Well, here's where it comes down to. who started the policy?
Well, it started under the Obama administration, but was not enforced until the Trump administration.
It was forced. It was enforced. Yeah, it was.
Not near to the levels.
Yeah, because they were doing it wrong. They weren't actually keeping the border. Whenever they claimed that there was asylum, they were seeking asylum. They were given like 4 years to run rampant in the country and then called back when there was a court date. Now they just hold them and have the court date.
But what I'm saying is the media is exactly the same. You're really paying attention to these little details here. But
yes, because the detail is that they're not the same. If you look at the details, they're not the same. This is actually a legal dispute that, like, years
all right,
after...
what about all the crazy ass Benghazi conspiracies, man? That Fox News has supported. That have all been proven in front of Congress multiple times to be complete bullshit.
They've been proven in front of Congress to be complete bullshit.
Like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
There have been multiple committees on this. Hillary Clinton has been in front of Congress like 3 times explaining herself in Benghazi, and they have found no foul play every single time.
They found no foul play. Okay. Did you know that they were trafficking weapons and it just came out recently?
What? Wow, I cannot spell today.
So, what is it called? Judicial Watch?
House Benghazi report finds no evidence of wrongdoing by Hillary Clinton. Now, this is a Republican House in 2016, ending one of the longest and costliest and most bitterly partisan congressional investigations in history. The House Committee on Benghazi issued its final report on Tuesday, finding no new evidence of culpability or wrongdoing by Hillary Clinton in 2012 attacks in Libya that left 4 Americans dead.
Do you remember the excuse that they provided?
Yeah, the video thing.
Right. So did you know that they had reports that there was hostility and what do you call that? So they had deposed, what's his name? Arafat, Yasser Arafat, right?
Yes.
Okay, so after deposing him, it was kind of a keystone thing for Obama's foreign policy. It was a big deal that he took down this dictator, right?
All right.
So the area was in civil unrest. There was lots of terrorism because Yasser Arafat actually served a purpose. His brutality was a purposeful brutality.
Right.
He kept at bay these people who were doing this stuff.
All right.
So at the time, he received the U.S. government received reports that this would happen if they tried to take down Yasser Arafat, and then afterwards they said that there was hostility in the area of Benghazi, and so Judicial Watch, the federal courts order the State Department to conduct a search of Benghazi emails of Hillary Clinton closest advisors. This is 2017, August 2017. So after your thing, Judicial Watch, which is this, I think, a non-profit organization, but I'm not sure. But they asked them to open it up again, and they're in the process of examining it over again because they've discovered
this would literally be the 5th time it's been examined.
Yes, and do you know who was examining it the last time?
Who?
The little guy named Comey?
I'm talking about the congressional examinations, the ones that Comey wouldn't be involved in.
Yeah, but Comey, what does the congressional examination do? Do you think they can convict anybody?
No, but they can also find no wrongdoing, and that's what they have declared.
And
again,
who was
3 different times during Republican-owned Congresses, or House specifically.
What does that mean, the Republican-owned Congress?
That the Republicans had the Congress at the time.
Right, and so you're saying they did the investigation.
They did the investigation. They had people come in
and
and
who was
speak.
on it? Who was on it?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
I don't know what the committees are.
Okay.
But I would assume more Republicans than Democrats. Hell, a federal judge, I got a story here. A federal judge in Washington has dismissed the lawsuit alleging that Hillary Clinton's lax security surrounding her emails led to the deaths of 2 Americans killed in a 2012 attack on the U.S. diplomatic compound in Benghazi. In a ruling Friday, the U.S. District Court Judge Amy Berman Jackson tossed out the wrongful death claims as well as allegations that Clinton essentially slandered the parents of the deceased by contradicting accounts the parents gave of the events related to their children's death. Basically, what I'm saying, man, is the whole, like, these people who died in Benghazi, like, the whole Hillary Clinton thing is bullshit and has been proven to be bullshit in multiple different ways. Not just one, not just Comey, but Congress, a court judge. Hell, probably more than one. I'm just pulling up this one fucking story here.
Yes.
I mean, at what point are you going to admit that Hillary Clinton did fucking nothing in Benghazi?
When the emails come out.
You're never going to see those emails. They are gone. No one hacked them. No one took them. They are gone.
They have them.
What about the 30,000 that they don't have?
They have those, or at least a lot of them anyways.
Who has them?
Anthony Weiner's computer.
And so Anthony Weiner got 30,000 emails from Hillary Clinton.
No. Huma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, and Jacob Sullivan had. So there's 2 areas that the emails go to, right? So you have Hillary's emails, and they come from somewhere, or they go to somewhere. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So Hillary may have gotten rid of her emails, but those other people got the emails they sent her. Remember?
Yes, they got the emails that she would have sent. And
So
Huma Abedin's have already been seized by the FBI.
I agree. That's
no,
totally
they
true.
have been. Yeah. So there you go. But what I'm saying is, at what point will you guys feel comfortable
Hold
with
on
it?
a second. You just said they were seized by the FBI, and who was running the investigation?
Comey was at the time. And he was not investigating Hillary Clinton at the time either. He was investigating
hold on
Anthony
a second.
Weiner.
You have an FBI that clearly wants her to become president.
I don't think the FBI clearly wanted her to become president. I wouldn't be surprised if James Comey did.
Anthony Struck and Elisa Page.
You're talking about a nobody in the FBI, first off.
They're running the investigation.
They were not running the investigation. Mueller's running the investigation.
Into Hillary Clinton?
Oh, you're talking about to that. No, James Comey ran that investigation. Hillary Clinton's investigation was James Comey.
Who's Peter Strzok?
Peter Strzok works for the FBI. He is literally just an employee.
So why did he do the interview with Hillary?
Because that's what employees do. They do the bitch work.
And why did he mention that he might want to use kid gloves?
Okay. Fuck it. Let's find out what Peter Strzok's actual thing was of Hillary Clinton.
You think he's just a peon? That's funny.
How do you spell Strzok? I don't know. I'll just type in Strzok.
There's a Y in it, I think.
Strzok. That works. Yeah, Peter Strzok's relation to Hillary. Yeah, I'm going to use Washington Post because fuck it. Deep within the report released Thursday from Investigator General for the Justice Department is the answer to the question that's been floating around for 6 months. Why did Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, 2 officials with the FBI, engage in months-long conversation? Okay, this doesn't tell me shit. But again...
No, it does.
Okay. Page explained to investigators that the reason was a personal one. The predominant reason that we were communicating on our work phones was because we were trying to keep our affairs secret from our spouses.
Okay. So then why would they say things like, what was it? I can smell the Trump supporters. Don't worry, we'll stop him. That we better use the kid gloves with Hillary Clinton because she'll be the next president.
The Inspector General who was put onto this case states there was no documentary or testimonial evidence that improper considerations, including political bias, directly affected the specific investigative decisions made at the FBI. However, the report also states that the investigators were deeply troubled by text messages sent between the two that potentially indicated or created the appearance that the investigative decisions were impacted by the bias or improper considerations.
So you just said that there was no bias, then you said there was bias.
No, what I'm saying is that the text gave off that hint, but their actual work did not reflect it.
That they could find.
That the investigator could find. This is an investigator appointed by Trump.
Right. So do you know that the, what do you call that? The Wiener laptop. So do you remember
Okay,
when
you know
Tony
what?
said that
Let's just take this in a different fucking direction. Prove to me right now that Trump had nothing to do with Russia. Because that's what you're asking me to do here. You're asking me to prove that Hillary had nothing to do with Benghazi.
That's easy.
Okay, go ahead.
Trump
Prove.
had nothing to do with Russia because he's never been there.
Okay.
He
Explain
never was
to me.
there
Explain
in the
to me
election.
why he lied about the conversation with the Russian official. Why didn't he just say that it was for the purpose of getting information about Hillary Clinton?
What are you talking about?
The meeting between his son and Trump Jr. and the Russian lady in June
Lie
of
about
2016.
What did he lie about?
He came out originally and said he had no knowledge of the meeting.
Okay. And then what?
That's been proven false.
By what?
That has been proven false.
By what?
What do you mean by what?
What are you talking about? It's been proven false by what?
By that one fucking dude, the Cohen dude.
The lawyer who came back and said that it didn't happen? It didn't say that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fuck me. All right.
See, this is the problem with the media, failing to redact stories properly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Trump didn't have any communication as per the, what is his name? Putin's speaking, I suppose. The last time they met was before he started running. Last time I think he was in Russia was before he started running.
How do you prove that the dossier is fake?
Because people who are in the dossier say they didn't do it and they weren't there.
All right. What about all the people that, like, Huma, whatever the fuck her name is? Yeah, Huma Abedin saying she didn't have anything to do with Benghazi.
What's your point?
My point is, there's a lot of evidence showing Hillary Clinton had nothing to do with Benghazi, yet your side won't let up on that shit. I mean, there's a ton of evidence. You guys keep on pulling shit out of your guys' asses when it comes to that. And you act like you guys are the ones that are getting it too hard.
What was Hillary Clinton's job?
She was Secretary of State.
What was she doing with Benghazi?
Nothing. She was.
So she wasn't
Here's
even
what
there.
she did. Here's what she did that was wrong. Okay, for Benghazi.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
This is what she did that was wrong. She did not allow additional support in the area before on the days leading up to the whole event.
And why is that?
Because she didn't want to spend the money. She didn't think it was important enough.
You don't think it was because they didn't want anyone to know that there was terrorist activity in an area that they had liberated from a dictator?
No, I do not. I think they'd be careless about that. Any chance?
Then why did they say that it had to do with a video?
Because that's what they thought. They were just wrong.
Except for the people didn't interview anyone who was there to.
They hadn't yet. It was the day after it happened, man. They took it back. They took it back within 48 hours of when it happened. And they said, no, we were wrong. It was because of this.
Which was what?
It was because it was an actual terrorist attack. It was not because of a video.
Why would they even offer a video?
Because that's what they thought it was. That's why there was a shit ton of protests because of the video going on all over the area.
You're saying that they thought people died because of the video. We're asking anyone.
I'm sorry. Say that one more time. You cut out.
You're saying that they thought all those people died because of a video before they interviewed anyone.
Yes, correct. And the reason for that is because of the protests that were happening because of the video at the same time in places like Egypt and in Libya. There were protests over the video. Don't think there wasn't. The protests were used as a facade to get in for the other people. But the protests still happened because of the fucking video. You think, or what's your reasoning for the protests?
Oh, we call them protests, right?
Yes.
All right. So you're saying the Benghazi attack, right? And where were the protests?
In Egypt and then Libya.
Okay. So just the wiki thing says that the Benghazi thing was a coordinated attack by Islamic militant groups, or the Islamic militant group Yasser Ali Sharia in Libya.
So you think they got 100,000 people coordinated together?
I think that they just attacked.
No, there was a protest going on, and then they attacked. It wasn't just like a group of 10 people coming in to attack. There was a giant protest of 100,000 or so people outside of the building at the time. They used that as a cover to get in and do the attack.
Okay, so we got the Benghazi Clinton timeline.
It was just straight up, they had the wrong information. And that's it. They thought it was a spontaneous attack. It turned out not to be. Shit like that happens.
See, the problem with that, okay, there's let's just say, for example, okay, I'm going to entertain you and say it's all legit. Everything that Hillary Clinton is saying is true, okay?
Right.
That she made a mistake. She just wanted to get rid of the problem, so she didn't actually ask anyone in the area why the attack happened. Yeah. She didn't have any intelligence. She just went out and said it was probably because of this really popular video that people were protesting, and they just went and they assaulted an embassy with special forces operatives firing upon them in return, and they successfully swarmed it despite huge casualties, and then killed the special forces, killed the ambassador, right?
Right.
Okay. And so after investigating, they discover it was actually Islamic terrorists attacking. So,
correct.
Right. Okay. And why did she delete her emails?
Because she said that they were personal emails.
Okay. They told her before not to delete her emails.
Yeah, well, she did. And she got away with it.
So now you have to drop the veil of actually considering her innocent.
I just don't think there's anything about Benghazi in these emails, okay? Now, I'm not going to lie. I bet you there's a shit ton about the Clinton Foundation in those emails. But I don't think there's anything about Benghazi in there.
Okay, so nothing about arms trading or nothing
like that. I guarantee it. And most of that shit would be classified anyways, so it would still be kept secret.
Not if they did it for the Clinton Foundation.
That is true. And that might be the case, but I don't think that was the reason. I don't think Benghazi had any foul play. There was a lot of things that happened during Benghazi that caused it to be fucked up.
So we have gone from she's totally innocent to that she's probably guilty for another reason.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, liberals hate Hillary Clinton too.
You're the one who said that our people are on it for no reason at all. She's totally innocent.
On the Benghazi thing. She's totally innocent.
The Benghazi thing is the source of it. Okay? Supposedly, it's a possibility that the Clinton organization has been at least involved in brokering deals. Supposedly, I don't know.
I bet this has funneled illegal money at a couple of points, and I bet that's the reason why those emails are not around.
Brokered deals for arms is paid for through donations to the Hillary.
To
the Clinton.
The uranium one thing.
That's an example. Yeah.
Okay. You know, she was just a committee member of veto power that she didn't even vote.
So?
I'm just saying, she didn't actively take a step in it.
Okay.
Yeah, we blame her for that.
Okay. I
mean, it was extremely beneficial for America, and it wasn't even American uranium. You know whose uranium it was?
What?
It was Canadian.
So you're okay with Russia having more uranium?
Hell no. I still think it's bad. So
what's the issue here?
My issue is that, yes, Hillary Clinton does some shady ass shit, but you guys are really railing on the wrong shit.
Oh, okay. So then,
because you guys want to include Obama in her problems.
we want to or won't?
You want to.
I mean, I don't really think I need to include Obama in her problems,
That's
except for the fact
what
that
the
he
whole
knew about
point
the
is.
email server.
That's the whole point of all this, though.
Do you
It's
know that
not to
they've
get Hillary
secured-
Clinton. Hillary Clinton's a nobody at this point. Hillary Clinton has no political influence. She might get a few
Really?
donors, but no real political influence at this point. You know who
You
still
really bet
does?
that?
Obama.
Does he?
I think the real goal of this conservative media right now is to go after Obama. To knock him off his fucking pedestal. Take down Obama, you take down the Liberal Party. Or the Democrat
That's
Party.
not true. He's not even the leader of the party. He can't serve them in any capacity other than as a...
Yeah, but he's also he's more of a public figure. He'd be like the spokesperson dying. He's like the fucking Mockingjay. Sorry.
So, okay. So you think Obama has that much power?
I think he has that much influence over people.
Have you ever heard of Chomsky?
No.
Okay. So back in the Russia days, there was a Bolshevik leader. I think his name was, he was a Bolshevik. Anyway, Noam Chomsky or Noam Chomsky.
Mhm.
He was outspoken advocate for the Marxist movement.
Mhm.
Big people person, mover and shaker, leader.
Yeah.
Right. They killed his ass. Do you know why? Wasn't communist enough.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Bernie Sanders and Obama don't agree on things.
No.
But it looks like Bernie Sanders' socialist Democrats are rising up.
Yeah, I
So
think
what are they
that's
going to
true.
do?
I
What are
think
they gonna
first
do?
off, Obama sits in the middle there. You got Hillary Clinton on one side, Bernie Sanders on the other. In the middle, you have Obama. Obama's still on neutral sides. People like Obama on both sides of that spectrum.
The question is he wealthy?
Yes, he's wealthy.
The question is, has he made deals to benefit his wealth
Yes.
at the expense of
Yes.
his communities that he's supposed
You're
to?
right.
He's going to be getting the bullet too, so to speak.
But what I'm saying is Hillary Clinton's completely irrelevant at this point to the new Democrat Party. Obama's
Again,
still holding on. Nancy Pelosi's going to be the next fall.
You gave her the reins to control a lot of women. You funneled them to her control. Like when Hillary Clinton shows up, women listen for some reason. A lot of women.
I know. It's one of the bigger mistakes of the Democrat Party.
Yeah. So you keep saying that, but do you know that there were people still shouting at Kavanaugh Hillary Clinton's quotes, even though after they've been debunked?
Here's my question for you, though. Which would you say is a bigger win? Finding out that Hillary Clinton did something that she's actually going to go to jail for, or find out that Obama did something that he's actually going to go to jail for? Which do you think is the bigger win for Republicans?
Neither.
Oh, what do you think is the biggest win for Republicans right now? That they could get.
That they could get?
Yeah.
Obama admitting that he lied.
Lied about what?
Lied about not knowing about, what was it, PRISM. Lied about not knowing about Hillary Clinton's email server. Lied about not knowing that, what was it, that North Korea wanted to talk to him during his time. Lied about the economy actually being his response, or the boom in the economy being his doing.
Do you think the economy failed because of Obama?
Obviously it didn't fail. It was basically hindered because of Obama.
What do you think started the recession?
That would be the bubble of loaning money.
That's right. Well, before Obama was president.
The policies began. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Obama decided to put sort of restrictions on the industries that make the most money. Energy. He wanted to promote clean energy, so he restricted what people could do with coal and fracking. I mean, he's even in the public saying that those jobs are gone. They're never coming back.
Yeah.
So Hillary Clinton said the same thing.
I think that's one of their biggest problems, strategically wise, because there's people that don't want to give up their jobs. There's people in the coal industry that want to work in the coal industry for the rest of their lives, want to have their children and their grandchildren work in the coal industry for the rest of their lives. But in reality,
that's not nearly important. What's important is that it earned money for the economy, and it earned money for for America, right?
I understand, but at some point, innovation is going to win over in those areas.
Then let it win over. Let it earn its place with competition.
Yeah, don't let it be destroyed by regulations. What you're getting at, right?
Yeah, don't hobble it. It has to beat the horse in the race. You can't just break the horse's legs and say, "Oh, look at this clean energy. It's really doing better."
All it is regulations. Obama never physically went there and said, you need to shut down your plant. He said, you need to follow these regulations to stay in the business. And these companies refuse to pay that money out.
They couldn't afford to pay the money out. Do you think that
you know how many of these companies are known for killing their employees and doing absolutely nothing about it? You know how many of the CEOs in the coal industry have been to prison for it?
Okay, so you're saying the system punishes them?
Yes. These people have done shady tactics and gotten away with them because of politics in the past. All Obama did was try to curtail that.
No, he tried to curtail the industry because he didn't think they needed coal. It had nothing to do with the higher ups. It had to do with the coal itself affecting the environment.
I'll tell you right now, the biggest booming industry here in Iowa, I mean, other than farming, obviously, because it's farming and it's Iowa. But the second biggest booming industry here is, you know what that is?
I have no idea.
Wind.
Okay.
I mean, they don't even take subsidies here anymore for wind.
Do you know there was a Republican who suggested all that?
You know who just railed against windmills?
Who?
Trump, like 2 weeks ago.
Well,
do you know why? Statement about how they're an eyesore and how they don't do shit for energy production or anything like that. Even though me and you, 90% of our energy comes from windmills and 10% comes from coal.
That's totally not true. We still have.
It's like 50-50. You're right, but yeah.
Look it up, man. It's not even close. No. It's. Let's see, windmill power. Okay.
In Iowa.
Make up more than 35% of the state's general electricity.
I'll take that. That's fair enough.
That would be during the times that there's actually wind.
Yeah, but there's battery storage on them now, and as battery technology gets better, they'll get better.
That's true, but there's a limited capability.
The whole deal with Obama is he's a dreamer. Okay? Maybe he dreamed a little bit too much.
You dreamed a little bit too much.
He might have dreamed a little bit too much. You might have been thinking we would be at this point 5 years ago. You know?
Yeah, I think that's one of his quotes. I think I was 10 years too soon or something like that.
I can see that.
That's the most pompous statement I've ever heard in my life.
But it's true.
No, it's not true.
The technologies are catching up. First off, solar power is almost dead at this point, and that was a bad investment on Obama's part.
Oh, okay. So that's a bad investment. Okay.
Well,
what about? Okay. Okay.
Hell, it still is, but I mean, there is a future in solar, but not in big giant solar farms.
Like they were
thinking. Because it's not, the technology isn't there, and it might not ever be there. What is going to be there, though, is solar panels on your roof. That's a legit thing that's starting to happen in many houses around the country.
Do you know the problem with those?
They don't get sunlight during the evening hours.
You have to keep them clean.
Yeah, that's true, too. That costs money.
And then you have to replace them, which is a problem, because especially if you live under a tree, for example.
To be honest, though, I don't think that'd be much more expensive than shingling a roof, man.
Yes, you'd be shingling a roof, then you'd be placing solar panels on your roof.
Yeah.
So then you got to worry about the solar panels and the shingle. So
well, the solar panels, again, the future concept will be the solar panels are the shingles.
Okay, well, that's a future concept that doesn't exist right now. So that's a nice idea, but here's the thing. If you're going to shut down the coal industry while we work on that idea, that's a stupid idea. Because
the regulations were put into place to make the coal industry safer for employees.
It was bullshit. It made it was more than just coal industry safety. Okay, it was how much they could output, how much waste they could output, how much they could produce. Those restrictions made it impossible for them to turn the profit that was necessary to keep open. That was the purpose. Do you think they wanted to run it out of business?
You know,
that way?
I can't quote this for sure, so feel free to fact check me on this. But from what I've heard, coal industry since Trump has taken office has hired very few employees.
Okay, I will check.
Like I don't even think the number is like over 1 million or anything. Yeah, how many coal jobs have been added since Trump?
I wouldn't use Google, by the way.
Oh, shut up. Here, I'm going to use NPR to contradict whatever the hell you said. All right. Sitting here, this is 2017, so it's a bit outdated. It looks like under Obama, they fell pretty bad, actually. They fell from 25K to about 12K. And in 2017, you know what they were at? 14K.
Okay.
So they've only went up 2K under Trump.
They've only went up 2K under Trump. So how far did they fall?
They did fall by a lot, probably about 10K under Obama.
Over how many years?
Well, okay, so when it was Obama, this chart's kind of hard to read. When it was Obama took office, which was 2008, it looks like it was around 23,000 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he even got it up there at about right before 2012. So about 2011 or so is about 25K. That was the highest point under the Obama presidency. And then it started a steady decline up until 2016 when Trump took over. Right. And that looks like it bottomed out around 13K. And now, or in 2017,
so what was the loss?
By the end of 2017, it had regained to 14,000.
Right. So what was the loss from the peak to the valley?
It looks like about 12,000.
Okay.
And about 2,000 have been given back.
So over 5 years, I think you're suggesting?
Yes.
Or around 5 years?
Around 8 years. But yeah, 5 to 8 years, because there wasn't much of a loss between 08 and 12. In fact, it went up during that time.
So if he is rolling back the restrictions on these coal industries, the companies are no longer there. So who's going to hire them back exactly? The ones that survived?
That's a good point. But I'll tell you this, since Reagan was in office, well, first off, during Reagan's office, second term, because that's where this starts, is Reagan's second term, 84. So I put it 84 to 88. It dropped from 41K down to 32K under Reagan.
Okay.
That's a 12,000 drop under Reagan.
That's cool. That's a cool story, man. I mean, but I don't understand what that has to do with me, but
this is specifically in West Virginia too, so I guess I'm not looking at other states. I just realized that is West Virginia. Yeah.
So Reagan was not kind for coal or something?
That's what it looks like. It might have just been the time period too, so who knows. But I'll tell you, between Reagan and Obama, from when this began, 1984 to 2008, it had fallen about 20,000 in West Virginia. So basically, between 1984 and 2008, 20,000 employees lost their jobs.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what to tell you because, like, it sounds like it's a downward slope that's now dipping upwards, which is kind of what Trump said that he would do.
But it's barely dipping upwards.
Right. So that means that there's impediments to the industry and that the industry has shrunk since Reagan's time. So even if you do make it easier for coal to be a producer, you still got the problem of training personnel and companies that are available to do the increased work. So there's also demand. I don't know if the time period in which Obama reduce the reliance on coal if people actually need it anymore. That's another possibility. So it just comes down to if the market has adapted, as markets tend to do, then the question is the coal cheaper now? If it's not, then the market won't bounce back. If it's the best option, then it will.
I have no idea. I don't think coal is going to be the future by any means, but it's not the worst energy out there.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people get confused with like what the best for the environment, right? They're like, okay, well, coal is bad for the environment, so we shouldn't use coal.
But
Gas
coal's
is
not that bad for the environment. Gas is probably worse.
Let's just say it's terrible for the environment. Let's just say it's just as bad as oil, and the only things that are good are the clean energies that people identify. Okay. So the question becomes, what do we do in the meantime before the clean energies are able to overtake oil and gas?
Just keep on using what we're using, I guess.
That's correct. And then we try to push the technologies to beat it. So
I think Obama's overall goal was to
cripple it so that we would be encouraged to make that change.
Yeah, help make those innovations quicker. And I think it was a bad mood on Obama's part.
His mindset was that we would be using the solar panels, we would be using the windmills if the coal just got out of the way.
Yeah, and that didn't play out. Basically, people just accepted the price increase and dealt with it.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. And there was no alternative for a lot of situations, and it just was an increase in price, an increase in cost, and exporting of coal, and ultimately it wasn't a good idea.
Exactly.
Because he didn't let the market kill itself as it was doing. He tried to make it kill itself. And there's going to be a point where it just doesn't sink any lower, right? Because there's going to be people who need coal for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But if you come up with technology, if he pours money into the technologies to replace it, then that would have been a better plan. But
I'll say the windmill industry, especially here, has increased not because of Obama regulations and stuff, but kind of more in spite of them. Because it works, exactly. Because it can provide, what you said, 35% of the energy in its current state, which basically cut costs for companies and saves them a shit ton of money in the end,
It's projected to cut costs. It hasn't done it.
It hasn't really done it yet.
Windmills are expensive and they've been put up. So time will tell whether or not they've actually been worth their...
You don't live near any wind farms, do you, right?
I do.
Oh,
Why?
You do? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say. Like, over here, it's like, I got wind farms for miles all around my house.
Well, congratulations.
No, I'm just saying, our whole skyline blinks red at night.
Well, that's kind of creepy.
No, it's kind of cool, actually. I like them. They're even cooler when they start to break, too.
Well, the point of the matter is that Barack Obama tried to get us roped into a bunch of climate change nonsense. But the reality is the climate, whether it changes or not, we still have to survive in it. So it is more important that we survive than we try to combat something that may not ever be changed.
No, I get what you're saying. And we do, as liberals, need to back off on some of these things and realize that unless there's a future proof for this certain thing, we can't be going against it,
Like the Paris Accords. Do you know how much their plan was supposed to change climate change and when it was supposed to change it by?
No, I have no idea.
It was supposed to change it by a fraction of a percent.
Like it wasn't even anything that great, and everybody was railing on Trump for getting us out of it.
Right,
and it's like, it was when you're right, because the honest truth of that is it wasn't doing much for anybody. It wasn't doing much for the environment. It wasn't doing much for us.
The American economy. It would have, but China would just continue on. Like they didn't get any promises. They're like, yeah, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
But so we would have one arm tied behind our back. China would have taken all the businesses that we restricted, and they'd be. I mean, they're. A lot of the reason why China is the way it is because the United States has regulations to stop companies from doing things they can do in China. Yeah. Like, for example, have you heard of the straw tax?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was based off of the statistics of some kid in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, what it comes down to is the United States pollutes the ocean about as much as a third world country.
Yeah, we're pretty good on pollution here.
Right, because we have an ass ton of restrictions. Like,
yeah, if you go to like somewhere like China, there's like fucking smog clouds everywhere.
They don't give up.
But here's another truth about China that no one ever talks about. Their quality on everything sucks balls.
You heard of the Black Panther movie, right?
Yeah, I've heard of the movie. I haven't seen it. So.
Okay. So I think you might be aware of a theme in that movie. A certain type of person or ethnicity sort of it gets a lot of screen time, if you understand what I'm saying.
Wait, are you talking about black people? Are we talking about black people? Oh my God, there's black people.
Mm-hmm. There's I don't want to shock you, but there's black people in the Black Panther movie.
Jesus Christ. Have you ever met a black person? Have you?
Every morning. But supposedly China said that it was an assault on the eyes.
What?
Supposedly, I don't know if it's true.
Oh God, I believe it though. If someone told me that, I would not even fact check it. I'd be like, yeah, nope, I could see that happening. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So there was they have a Chinese version of You Got Talent or The Voice or something like that. And they had an act on their Chinese act where the person did like gangster rap, and the Chinese government came and like grabbed the kid by the neck, like made him apologize on like television. They deleted the show from existence. Like, yeah. Or the episode. Yeah. So he had to apologize to like all the people for subjecting him to that like abuse. and he was never seen again.
Oh shit.
That's the Chinese government for you.
There's more truth to that than not.
They've got the Apple codes now.
Yeah, but you know. First off, that's why you don't use Apple products.
Well, geez, man, they were fine like 10 minutes ago. Then they're in the bed with I think they call them chai coms or something like that.
Dude, Apple products suck. We've been through this multiple times. I don't know why you continue to use your iPhone. Get a fucking Android, you will be happier. See, there's something Google has over everybody else. They're not fucking Apple.
Well, congratulations, I suppose.
I'm just saying. Like, you want to diss on Google, fucking look at the real culprits first, man.
Yeah, sorry. I said it was an assault on the eyes. Apparently, Chinese moviegoers believe it's a torture for the eye. Mistranslation.
Even better. It's so true. Oh,
they
God.
Are so dark. I cannot see where they are.
You gotta love them racist Chinese.
Oh man, but that's because racism is the norm in the United States. It's so weird that we try to fight it. Like,
yeah, but that's true in most of Western world too. I mean, you get the same type of shit in Britain, same type of shit in Canada.
No. What is weird is that we try to fight the idea that we are what do you call that?
Inherently racist.
Colorblind. No, colorblind. So people nowadays are trying to fight the idea that the merit of a person is more valuable than the skin color.
Yeah.
It's now considered to be racist to suggest I'm colorblind, because that's basically denying the torture of my ancestors at the hands of the white man, apparently.
Yeah.
To say that I consider you based off of your merit before I consider your skin color is an affront, which is stupid, because it's actually a unique feature of Western culture that is not afforded in many other places. Like if you're a Jewish guy in an a Middle Eastern country, good luck. If you're a Chinese person in a Middle Eastern country, good luck.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. But
it's just the Western ideologies.
But these are the ideas espoused by Barack Obama. Like this is the problem I have personally with him, since we're talking about the subject. Him and Hillary Clinton, who said misogynist, racist, homophobic, xenophobic. There is no way that a president should suggest that his citizens, the majority of his citizens on an opposing party, are all racists or even close to being all racist, that the replacement for him is a racist without very solid evidence. But in his mind, he already has it. And that evidence is, him saying that the NFL kneeling is sons of bitches. Like, what?
Okay. I think we need to save the NFL thing for next time.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
But
we can't get that far into that. In fact, we should probably start wrapping this up. We're at 2:15 right now. So,
no, you're right.
but go ahead.
So let's just watch the.
Yeah, I think we're way off of that now too. But let's give our final thoughts on some of the things we talked about tonight. So let's start off with the Google thing. I want to know what your final thoughts on Google in general is. I mean, what do you think their future is, and what do you think is the best way to curtail the bias that they have?
Ultimately, we have net neutrality offers us a unique problem. People like the idea of the internet being free and with restriction, but the question becomes, how do we enforce that? For some people, the idea is government regulation. But then the question is, after that, how do we trust the watchmen? So who will watch the watchmen?
Yeah.
In reality, we as consumers essentially have to enforce net neutrality. We have to vote with our dollars. The one thing that the government can do is force companies to say what they're doing. That's the one thing that they can say, is that you have to tell us exactly why you've restricted us, what you're restricting. All this information has to be made available. We need to know why Google is making these algorithm decisions. No algorithm should be a secret. No information in this algorithm should have to be discovered by a team of, I don't know, specialists to determine that they're doing this. They should be open and honest and upfront with their stuff and have people decide. If they restricting,
let's say they, well, I mean, obviously they're not being open about it, but let's say they were being open and you discover that there is no actual bias and that their employees just feel this way, but they don't actually push that into their work. What would your thoughts on that be?
Hold on a second. So are you saying that
let's say they showed everything about their algorithm, which Google should fucking do. That should have been something that should have been done from the beginning. And you look at it and you're like, okay, there's no biasm here. But their employees are still having meetings like the ones that we saw earlier.
Okay, well, then there would be no issue if there were.
There we go. We're coming right back. Sorry about that. Continue with your thoughts there.
So if Google was actually randomly providing CNN and basically all mainstream media providing the information as asked.
Should you be able to control what their algorithm is? Now, if they are completely honest about their algorithm, and let's say they are being biased, okay? They're being completely honest about it. They're like, okay, here's our algorithm. We're not going to show conservatives on here. Okay, would you want them to change?
No, that's their prerogative.
Okay.
If they come out and say,
now, if they show their algorithm and it has no bias to it, but it by design ends up having one because of, let's say, CNN's more higher results because CNN gets viewed more, then
if they're touting themselves as being unbiased, then their algorithm has made them biased.
But their algorithm has made them compliant with what their consumers want. Their consumers more often than not want CNN when it makes sense for them to curtail CNN towards them.
This consumer wanted what Google promised, which was unbiased.
Would that be any different? Like, let me use an analogy here. Would that be any different than you going into Burger King, for example, and you want a Pepsi and all they have is Coke products?
No.
What? Can you hear me? Oh, God.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? He can't hear me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, I can't hear him now. Oh no. Oh no. Let's see if we can figure this out real quick. See what's going on here. You're quiet. I can't hear you. If you can hear me. Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Are you dead? Do you need emergency assistance? He's dead, ladies and gentlemen. He has died. Let's see if we can get him back real quick. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh my god, this is like we're on CNN. But okay,
Yeah, you cut
what
my
I was
mic
saying.
right when I was supposed to say something.
Yeah, I didn't cut your mic. Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
I know.
Yeah. That's what that CNN would do. But what I'm saying is, okay, you go to Burger King, okay, you want Pepsi, but all they have is Coke products because Coke is more popular. How's that any different?
Did they advertise Coke or Pepsi?
They advertise that they have the most popular soda here.
No, then that doesn't work that way. Did they advertise Coke or Pepsi? That's the standard.
All right, I kind of see what you're saying there. Okay, and to be honest, I would like more I would like bias to be worn on the sleeve of everyone, but I think bias, when it's announced, causes mistrust.
Yes, that's the point of why you would announce your bias. That's the point. That's the exact point. That's why you would do it. Because you are just revealing that if you're listening to me, consider carefully what I say. That's all bias is, right? So, for example, white nationalists, right? If they say something, it doesn't mean that they're lying when they say it because they're white nationalists. It means that what they're saying might be tilted so that it suggests that white people are cool and other people are not cool. So, judging by the information that they provide you, if it has nothing to do with white or black people, it might not be, it might be useful information, right? Because there's nothing to color there. He's like, your car's on fire. It has nothing to do with black or white. He didn't suggest that it was those N-words that just ran away from it. Like, no, your car's on fire. That's useful information. It doesn't matter who it comes from, white nationalists or not. If he says I'm a white nationalist and he says your car's on fire, I will be like, I'm a black person, so let me think about this one. I'm going to look over my shoulder, but I'm also going to take a step back. Okay, it is on fire. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying.
Things.
It does.
You have to protect yourself when you realize that there's a bias.
But
it doesn't mean that you don't check.
Look, I think everybody should, no matter what, double check things. And if it takes us announcing our bias and saying, hey, look, I'm a conservative. My article is going to be a conservative article. Here it is. Now, if you want to find out more information about this from another point of view, check out this webpage over here. Then,
like Sargon of Akkad.
Yeah, exactly.
Other people.
I think modern media, like YouTube and things like that, are changing this whole idea. But at the same time, we don't know who to trust in this kind of modern day media when anyone can have a platform.
To my world. You don't trust anyone. You trust yourself.
That's true. Look,
honestly,
it's a tough thing for your average consumer because most consumers only get their news from one or two sources.
The greatest harm that the news organization ever did was to say that they were trustworthy. To say that every single person on their news organization was trustworthy.
In the end, are we going to be talking about the end of news organizations by the end of Trump's presidency?
It's essentially over as we knew it. They sold their soul to a president.
No. I heard a story about this on NPR about how, 20 years ago, the news organizations were the gatekeeper. Like, 40 years ago is your local news. Then 20 years ago is your cable news station. And nowadays, there are no gatekeepers. Anyone can find out anything that they want.
That's correct.
But that also means that they can find out any false facts that they're looking for.
But that doesn't matter. Don't you understand that doesn't matter? Like, whether the facts are true or not, whether they're false or not, that person chose to believe that. And maybe they'll be educated in the future or something else.
Maybe the overall answer to this is in our public education system, having people, including classes that help you be able to navigate the horror that is the internet, I think I lost you again. Can you talk? This has been a great night, ladies and gentlemen. Just fucking wonderful. Let's see if we can get him back. Then we leave. Then we call. Then we wait. We wait. We wait. We wait with a black screen. Are you back? Can you hear me? Ashanta. I think he's just staring at me very confusingly. Nod your head if you can understand a word that I am saying. He's not nodding his head, ladies and gentlemen. I assume that means he does not hear me. Well, guys, I think we're coming close to the end of our show. We'll try one more time, see if we can bring him back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Is there any, for the future, is there any other way to like reroute the phones or something like that?
Yeah, we'll figure all that out another time.
Okay, but either way, you said that the answer might be teaching people to be more discriminatory.
Yeah, making that a bit more of a required education, because I think half the reason why we have so much misinformation in our media right now, and people believing every word that they get from their one news organization that they pay attention to, is because people aren't taught properly how to research. It's reserved for college students and things like that.
I disagree. I think it's because they say that they can be trusted. That's what I think it comes down to. They constantly tout that they are telling the truth, that they are saying the truth, that they are the truth speakers, that they speak truth to power, all this other bullshit. When it comes down to it, there are just some people out there who have an agenda and they want you to believe what they believe because they're actually scared of the things that they're reporting. So they want more people to share their fear. That's essentially what it comes down to.
Now, you know what? I think we should end it on that. That was a really interesting thing to say there. And to be honest, I don't even 100% disagree with you. So, because, yeah, that was actually very well put. All right, guys. So we'll be back again in, 2 weeks? Probably 2 weeks? Maybe?
Something like that, probably.
Bye, motherfuckers.